Welcome to The Social Impact. I'm Keenan Williams, and in this edition I speak of how bullying can ultimately lead someone to change their lives so drastically that they undergo millions of dollars worth of plastic surgery, have their ribs removed, and keep chasing the wind for happiness, only to find comfort in a thin, small voice which is their own. Welcome to The Social Impact. How happy are you with the person you are? Also, are you really the person you are meant to be, or are you pretending to be someone else? Now, working as a content producer in the radio industry, I've come across many strange and wonderful people with interesting stories. From Vinny O, whose wish it was to become a genderless alien by having his genitals removed, to Martina Big, who had undergone several surgeries to turn her white skin into a black skin, enlarge her lips, change her eye color, change the texture of her hair, and enlarge her breast size. Now, many such stories are making headlines daily around the world of people trying to be their truest selves by undergoing radical surgeries to better themselves and to be and feel more comfortable in their own bodies. Recently, I watched a clip of Rodrigo Alves, also known as the Ken doll, who had 4 ribs removed. Also that he could have smaller hips and avoid having his blazers and jackets tailored. Another interesting story online is of British-born Kerry Miles, who had undergone several procedures to make her look like a Barbie doll of all things. And listening to the interviews, especially with Kerry, she says that bullying in her youth left her insecure with the way she looked, and she had to begin working on herself. In a recent chat aired on This Morning, Rodrigo Alves, on the other hand, says that he was also teased about his appearance in his youth. Now, it seems that the common factor in many of these stories is that many of the people who undergo them are insecure and just want to be accepted and happy in the skin they find themselves in. I often wonder how many of them would go for the procedures if their lives had turned out differently while growing up, if they were not teased about being flat-chested or fat or skinny or short or whatever. Would they still be uncomfortable with the people they are? Now, bullying obviously leaves a lot of hurt in a lot of people. It's not just a spur of a moment thing for someone to book an appointment with a doctor and have 4 ribs removed. Ribs which are there to protect your lungs, liver and kidneys besides other vital organs. So I ask again, how happy are you really with the person you are and you find yourself with? I believe very much that hurt people and loved people love people. So if you only know hurt, you won't be able to love, and if you only know love, you won't be able to hurt someone else. Now, that is my methodology. So understanding this correctly is that people who bully, abuse and assault others are hurting, and the only way for them to cope and carry on with life is to hurt others as well. Now, this is not an excuse to many of the situations, but it can sum up much of why some people do what they do to others. Now, being a victim of bullying and low self-esteem myself, I found it quite difficult, especially reaching my teenage years and early adulthood, to accept myself. The hurt perpetrated by my peers was harsh. I didn't have much friends growing up, and the name calling, which later escalated, left me feeling lonely and depressed. As a performer, I would go onto stage and develop a different persona, also that I need not be myself, as I was afraid that I would be teased and further insulted for being my true self. I was lucky to relearn to love and accept myself all over again. It wasn't easy. It took a lot of time for me to speak in my own voice again, to dream bigger, to finally be the person that I should be. Now, bullying is hurtful. It kills the soul and it sucks the life from the victim. But learning about why people hurt people can also teach a former victim of the abuse to also pray and forgive the bully who they themselves were hurting. That is the only way, I believe, to move forward. Yes, I could work on myself and I could relearn to accept and love myself all over again, but the real process was to go back and to forgive those people who had said and done those hurtful things to me. There are still some days where I would go through a little depression. It's part of life, I believe, and part of growing up. But I'm finally at a stage where I'm able to look the young man in the mirror in the eye and say, I love you and I accept you for who you are, what you are and what you are destined to become. Each day is a process. I was privileged enough to find myself, to free myself from being a victim and to stand up and rise up and speak out and tell my story and finally be a victor. Now, in conclusion, I can say that we have all experienced some sort of hurt in our lives, may it be a fight with a friend or someone calling you a hurtful name or being physically or psychologically and verbally abused and assaulted at one stage or other in your life. But each of us, no matter who we are, have the responsibility to show others what love is, to show them that we care. Sometimes our hurt is so deep that our voices are hidden, and the only way for us to be heard is for others to speak out and to speak up for us. Sometimes their voices are the lifeline that we need, and the only way for us to be able to speak out for ourselves is to amplify the lives we were meant to live and to reignite the spark which is your and my future. It's in our hands, it's on our lips, the words we speak, the things we say, the things we do. Now ask again, are you happy with who you are?